Charlotte, thank you so much. Thank you for putting me on blast like that. Because I did chug a Monster energy drink because this conference is sponsored by Monster. Thank you for our sponsors. I'm just kidding. It's not. It's sponsored by Cinder, among other great sponsors. But it is such an honor to be here today and to be able to support TrustCon. And thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, all the Orange Badgers. Let's give it up for the Orange Badgers. So I'm Glenn Wise, the co-founder, CEO of Cinder. We are a platform for trust and safety operations. And that's about all I'm going to say of Cinder, because I'm really excited to bring up someone who I met at the first TrustCon 2 years ago. Chris Price, who is the trust and safety product manager at Patreon. And they're building an awesome program that I've learned so much from. Our team has learned so much from. And it's been a really great partnership over the past few years working with them. And it started at the pool deck at the first TrustCon, which is a great venue. I think maybe pool next year. Bring it in.
You want to be visionary next year.
All right, we'll talk about that. But that's it for me. I now want to bring up Chris Price. So please give it up for Chris Price. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you all. Hi, TrustCon. I appreciate Glenn's intro. The other fun fact to get us started is I've known the Wilners for quite a while. In fact, Charlotte was my second manager when I started at Facebook back in 2010 as an IC1 working on account password resets, which is not a role or a position that exists at that company anymore. And that kind of explains a lot about the Facebook experience today in some places, but we've come a long way from those times, and I've taken on a little bit more responsibility, which we're going to get into. So what does that look like? First, Patreon. I don't know who here listens to podcasts or who doesn't. You've probably heard our name before, but let's get into a little bit of a sense of what is Patreon. It started out as a crowdfunding platform about 11 years ago. Jack Conte was very frustrated with what the pay rate was going to be for him on YouTube for his music videos, and Apple iTunes was moving to Spotify, and making money as a creator was just not really possible. So he went into business for himself, quite literally. Moving forward, Patreon has since evolved in the last decade to be not just a crowdfunding platform, but a membership platform. And now we view ourselves as the creator company, and we are focusing on making sure that anybody who is a creative person can own their content and have direct connections with their fans. No ads, no ML, just basically making sure that that's in place as best as possible. This is sort of what it looks like today. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because we've got a lot of things to cover in only about 5 or so minutes. So let's talk about what happened 2 years ago when I started talking to Glenn. This is the roadmap for Patreon that I walked into when I joined the company in 2022. There was a pivot that came in the year before of we're going to just start adding a lot of features and value to the platform to basically give creators more ways to express themselves. And so this is the company strategy. What that led to was putting out a lot of new products: native video, new mobile app, chats, collections, Spotify integration, digital commerce, so you can sell with things directly. All of that's coming out. And then trust and safety, where are we at? Well, not the best spot, you know. A little stressed out, I would say. This is a lot of new products to have to support, and I barely knew what we were doing at the time. So what were we thinking about from a trust and safety lens back in 2022? And what are we still doing today? First, community guidelines. We build our policies in a collaborative fashion. We have what we call as a CPEP, or the Creator Policy Engagement Program, that our policy team runs every quarter. We use that as a feedback loop to talk about what changes we're thinking about making, what changes creators want to see, and how can we do things in a way that really supports them. We also work on a moderation approach, which was very holistic and more of a partnership model rather than we're taking this thing down and don't put it back up. What that meant, though, was in 2022, content moderation was actually not really something we were doing. We built our first content moderation experience in 2022 to educate and reform creator behavior natively in the product by explaining what policies were in violation, where they were, what they needed to do, and what actions were available for them, or they could reach out and directly appeal to us. So really like creator first and collaborative is our MO. But we have product strategy that's like go, 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 go. We have trust and safety systems, which hadn't really been actively invested in for about 8 years, or at least the 2 years prior to that, me being there. And so we had to come from behind and catch up with what everybody else was going to be building. And we had just a lot of inefficiency in the actual moderation funnel itself. So jumping forward, what were we going to do? Let's take these one at a time. Product side, what does this look like? User growth goes up. Products, this is what we want. This is what the company wants. We want to see these numbers going up. But that means we have to deal with problem number 2, which is if you have more things happening on the platform, you're going to have more issues with moderation. Moderation volume also goes up. Scary. We need to do something to address that. And you can really see here that when we started adding free membership, we did our rebrand last year, and we introduced chats, that this is really where the inflection starts to take place. So we go back to the last piece, which is all those inefficiencies. You're probably thinking, expectation, this is not going to go very well. But that's not true. We committed to a long-term strategy as a company, and we said, we're going to focus on these 3 main things, which I can't really read down here, so I'm going to look over to the side to give myself a little help. But basically, maintaining and focusing on deploying new products and working in partnership with the teams was a huge focus for us. We looked at the ways that we could empower our team through tools like Cinder, through more efficient review processes, and really building for scale and focusing on, again, maintaining that collaborative approach to how we were talking to our users, as well as what we were doing within all of our teams to basically harmonize the things that we were developing and the sequence in which we were going to get them out the door. I'm not going to read off everything on the slide, but as you can see, quite a bit of work over the last 2 years. The other important thing that was happening at that pool side was making decisions along every step of our journey on, are we building this internally or are we buying this? And we made a very intentional decision to buy the operations platform, because at that point, it's 2022. Today it's 2024. Small companies really shouldn't have to be building super nuanced, like scaled moderation platforms. We're very grateful that companies like Cinder exist and that are helping us do that. But the detection, because of the unique nature of the fact that this is creator-owned content that is probably not available anywhere else on the internet, means that these things are not easy for other scaled off-the-shelf models and solutions to work on very well. It requires a lot of adaptation. So we split the baby on this one a little bit, and we said we're going to do both build and buy. And what did that actually look like? First, moderation decisions. We're making more decisions, but at the account level, what you're seeing is that we haven't had a giant influx of bad actors as we've released all these new products. So account level decision making has gone up. It's trending in a good direction. We are doing more work per day, but this is where you actually see the massive inflection, right? So we go back, we look at that change last year. We timed our introduction of Cinder around those go-to-market and rebrand moments. And from that September period to today, we have just massively scaled our use of Cinder as a platform. So recap, why is this working? And how have we been able to kind of keep pace with the rest of the product? First, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. We are focusing a lot on just gradual development and not trying to do everything all at once, because you will fail if you keep trying to juggle too many things simultaneously. We didn't have a ton of data when we started, so we are making our own data. And we are also just focusing on investing in the right people. We're a small company. We can't have a massive trust and safety team. So every hire counts, and working to improve and scale up the knowledge and experience of the people that we have internally has been paramount to our success in making this all come together and work in a collaborative fashion. We are also leaning in with our product teams to make sure that they are helping us bear the burden of this by building collaborative products by design. So what's next for us? Free membership. We talked about that a little bit. We're scaling that up quite a bit. Everyone Chats is coming in the next month. Drops is dropping next week as a new product feature. And you would think this is great, but this is actually what it feels like when you're in the trust and safety side. And that's not so fun. But at the same time, we've gone through the last 2 years, and this has been working out okay for us. So we are continuing to maintain the happier warrior side, and we're not that upset. So thank you for letting me have some time up here. I will turn it back to Charlotte.